Okay, we're capturing. Hello. So soft. I'm here in a hotel in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm at the Improv with Greg Proops this weekend. Very exciting. And I got in town 2 days ago because the flight was cheaper. So I organized some other shows and had a lot of fun shows so far here in Atlanta. Did one at a coffee shop called Hodgepodge. It was great. Everyone on the show was really funny. The host was great. It was a little weird because it's coffee shop show and it's like pretty early in the day and like in full sunlight, but it was just fantastic. And then I did another one at a barbecue place. I was really excited to get some barbecue, so I was starving. And I'm in Atlanta here. I want to get some good barbecue, and it was okay. It was decent. They had an old fashioned on the menu, and I asked him, I go, what kind of whiskey do you put in your old fashioned? And he said, Evan Williams. Why bother? Why bother making an old fashioned? Mix it with like, Coke. Old fashioned with Evan Williams, it's not gonna be good. Just don't do it. I mean, the point is they want to save money. Just don't offer that. Offering people an old fashioned with that kind of liquor in it is just like a disservice to your establishment. Anyway, um, been traveling a lot. I was in Philly last week again, as always. I think the last time I vlogged there was from Philly. Yeah. Was it last week? I don't know. But anyways, now I'm in Atlanta. I stayed at my friend Josh's house. He's got a beautiful home, and he has a video game room downstairs, and it's all video games. And he's got old NES and old Atari, and I love old video games too. And look what he gave me: River City, River City Ransom, which I mean, one of the greatest Nintendo games of all time. And he had an extra copy, and he knows I like it, so he gave it to me. I'm very excited about that. I'm wearing a linen shirt. Bought a linen shirt at the Banana Republic, the old B Rep, as Paul F. Tompkins calls it. He's got this joke where he's like, "I was at the old B Rep. I go there a lot. I go there a lot." Really great bit. And do you ever hear Todd Glass? He does this thing where he's like, Jim Gaffigan has a joke. I don't think he'd mind if I told it. And he like builds up to this Jim Gaffigan joke. Yeah, the comedians, they got great jokes. Another, what's the matter with telling them? I think they'd be happy about it. And he builds up to it. Then he finally tells it, and nobody laughs. And then he goes, Jesus Christ, you can keep it. Or is you. Oh, I got this linen shirt. Man, they wrinkle. They really wrinkle. Linen wrinkles, and it makes it look like you're going to like a wedding, like a beach wedding. I don't know what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking. Last vlog was shorter. I said I was trying to make them shorter because I feel like, I do this too. You see a video with a 10-minute, timestamp on it. I'm just like, I don't have that kind of time. I lead a busy life. I don't want to devote 10 minutes to a thing. Not a thing like this. New season of Sherlock's out on Netflix. Incredible. It's really good. I don't know if you've been watching Sherlock, but he, fakes his death, just like in the books. And then the new season is devoted to him coming back in the books. So in the original Sir Arthur Conan Doyle book, he wasn't faking his death. When Sir Arthur Conan Doyle wrote The Death of Sherlock Holmes was supposed to actually be dead. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle did not particularly like his Sherlock Holmes stories. He wrote all this other stuff about like politics and fantasy, not fantasy, maybe some. Well, he was into fairies. He thought fairies really existed, but he wrote all this other stuff that was not very good. And then Sherlock Holmes was a huge hit, but he didn't like it. He wrote it just to pay the bills, and so he killed Sherlock Holmes off because he's like, I don't want to write these stories anymore. But then audiences clamored so much for Sherlock to come back that he had to bring him back, and then he had to come up with a explanation. He's like, well, he faked his death, but when he originally wrote it, he was actually dead. Oh. Oh, I probably already I pulled a leg muscle, butt. It was like a butt and a upper thigh muscle, It hurts so bad. Every time I stand up or sit down, I'm like, ah, ah! And everybody looks at me like, what the fuck is with this? And I'm like hobbling everywhere. It's so painful. And I pulled it. I did a high kick. I did a cigarette. I was a model in a cigarette shoot, like an ad campaign for these French cigarettes. But the art directors were German, I'm pretty sure. If you've been anywhere near me in the past 2 weeks, you've already heard this story, in which case I apologize in advance. But at one point, the German art director, their art direction was really funny. They're like, okay, in this shot, you're very excited about the cigarettes. You love the cigarettes. Go! And then you would do that, and then they go, okay, now in this shot, you do not care about the cigarettes. You are over them. You're like, yeah, whatever. Okay, go! And then in the one shot, he goes, okay, jubilate. And I said, what do you mean jubilate? He's like, jubilate, like, yeah, whoa, jubilate. And so I went, oh, okay. And I tried to do a high kick, and that's when I pulled my leg muscle. Pretty sure that's when it happened. It's the only active thing I've done. Well, no, I've been hiking, jogging a little bit. Anyway, so I was in a French cigarette shoot. I told everybody this story, so I'll just tell it real quick. I get there, I'm supposed to model in it. I get there. All the other models are gorgeous. They're all more fashionable than me. They told us just wear whatever because we're going to have wardrobe for you, so it doesn't matter what you wear to the shoot. So I throw on what I normally wear. Khaki Brooks Brothers shorts, some boat shoes, a blue button-up short-sleeve shirt, a lot like this, but it had a white Hawaiian print on it. Everybody else was wearing motorcycle boots, black jeans, vintage Aerosmith strappy tees showing side boob, tall, good-looking, coiffed, covered in tattoos. I'm just like, oh man, I'm going to get fired, right? The people who hired me are going to be just disappointed when they see how lame and I look. And then I go to wardrobe and they tell me, okay, you're going to be playing the nerd. And I said, I am relieved and offended in equal parts. And then so they say, okay, well, let's find some nerdy clothes for you. You're supposed to be like the weird nerd character, so let's find you clothes for that. They got two different wardrobe people. They got all these ranks of clothing. They look through all the stuff that they have. Then they look at me, the clothes I'm wearing, and they go, perfect. Just keep that on. That's really offensive. That was the part where I was like, okay, I think I look pretty nice. These professional disagreed. So anyways, but it was a fun shoot. And speaking of nerds, then I also did the Benson interruption. You know, Doug Benson, he has this thing where they play a movie and then you sit in the front row and you make fun of the movie. And so it was me, Doug, and then two of the actors from the movie, Booger and the Asian guy. His name I don't know. Whoops. And so it was at the Trocadero. The Troc was packed. Troc is one of my favorite venues. I love that room. And we made fun of the movie, and it was a lot of fun. I'd never, done that before, and I wasn't sure whether or not I would do a good job. But it took me a couple minutes to feel it out and say, like, okay, how much are we supposed to say, and what's the rhythm that Doug prefers? But once I get used to it, it was so much fun. It was just a blast, and so that was a lot of fun to do. I'm reading a book right now, 2666. Remember when this thing came out? A couple of years ago. And it's like a box set, 3 different volumes. And everybody was talking about how great it is. So boring. So boring. So boring. I was reading it on the train, and I was so bored. I was like, I wish this train would get into an accident. That's how bored I am. Just want something to happen. There was a lady on drugs on the train. She was messed up. So anyway, this is just boring the crap out of me. It's about 4 people, and there are Archimboldi scholars. They're scholars of some obscure German author with an Italian last name, Archimboldi. Let me read you the firsts. The first time that Jean-Claude Pelletier read Benno von Archimboldi was Christmas 1980 in Paris, when he was 19 years old and studying German literature. That, every sentence in the book is like that sentence. You know how exciting that sentence was? That's the whole book. And now look, I read a lot. I think I generally am a pretty high-level reader. But I don't like boring books. is boring the pants off me. Nothing's happening. I think I actually have pretty low class taste in books. I like books where things happen. I read a lot of Michael Crichton. I read a lot of Stephen King. I like when things happen. I appreciate good writing. You can write those sort of stories well. This is a good way to do it and a bad way to do it. It's just boring me. It's just the people talking about Archimbaldi. And there's a girl, and the one guy likes her, and this other guy likes her, and then they both like her. Oh. Who gives a crap? You both like the same girl. Great. Figure it out. Why am I here? It's about as exciting as you would think a book about German scholars would be. Anyway, we're at the 11-minute mark. It's long. Can't help myself. So, anyways, I'm gonna go to Jimmy John's, get some food, and then I'm gonna do some more typing. I've been working a lot. I've gone back to typing, for a long time there. I used to write my jokes in a little notebook. I started out by typing years ago, and then I went to a little notebook, and then a couple years ago I went to just all audio. So I would just record them on an audio recorder, and I'd kind of work them out on stage more. But now I'm going back to typing them, but then also doing it on stage. So like I'll do it on stage, and if I like the way it felt, I'll listen to the audio, and then I'll transcribe it. It's just helping me get the language tighter. I'm working on longer jokes now that are more conversational, where I hide the punchlines a little bit more, where it's less set up punch. And so they're just so unwieldy and long that I found that typing really helps. And then I'm not slavish to what I typed. I still try to keep, when I get on stage, I'll go ahead and change things. But I think it's helping. Yeah, I got to work it out. It's a big, talk about it later. Anyways, 12 minutes. Jeez. Will they even allow this on YouTube? Will anybody see this part? So, okay. I hope you're doing good, and I'll talk to you later.